Good morning. I am Tijuana, a registered nurse, and today I want to talk about nursing burnout. Today is May 14th, 2021. Stay tuned. I'm going to talk about nursing burnout, some of the reasons why we get burned out, and I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on caring for the drug addicts that come into the hospital when these junkie addicts come in there and when the junkie addict meets the burned out nurse. Stay tuned. Okay, so a passage from TED Talks on nursing burnout says, burnout, a popular term for a mental or physical energy depletion after a period of chronic, unrelieved, job-related stress characterized sometimes by physical illness. The person suffering from burnout may lose concern or respect for other people and often have a cynical, dehumanized perception of people, labeling them in a derogatory manner. Causes of burnout peculiar to the nursing profession often include stressful, even dangerous work environments, lack of support, lack of respect, lack of respectful relationships within the healthcare team. And I'm sure that probably goes with the nurse-doctor relationship. Anyway, we get back to the little speech here. Low pay scale compared with physicians, physician salaries, shift changes, and long work hours, understaffing of hospital, pressure from the responsibility of providing continuous high level of care over long periods, a frustrating and disillusionment resulting from the difference between job realities and job expectations. Pretty deep. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to say, if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe and hit the bell notification so you'll get notified when I upload another one of my fabulous videos. So my channel is dedicated to me, Miss Tijuana. That's who I am. That's who I be. And I talk about a few things on my channel: mental health, narcissistic abuse, recovering from that. I'm on a weight loss journey. Check out my weight loss videos. And what else I be talking about? Okay, so I'm watching this TED Talk, and they're giving all these tips on how to, help yourself out of this. All right, so I'm watching this TED Talk nursing burnout video, and they're giving these tips on how to avoid getting burned out and all this stuff, like self-care and take breaks and all that stuff. Well, one of the things when you are working as a nurse, especially in the hospital, getting a break sometimes is not an option. Like, what, I'm supposed to stop doing CPR because it's break time? Yeah. Oh, break time. Sorry. Switch. No, it ain't gonna happen. So you gotta work. When you're having a bad shift, you can't control that. If you have, say you're on the floor and you got 6 patients and 3 of them are going bad at the same time. You can't just be like, look, sorry, you need to take that heart attack. You need to start breathing again until I get back from my lunch. Like, that ain't gonna work. So you just got to do it. And it doesn't matter if your bladder's full and you haven't relieved yourself in several hours. You just have, it's stressful. So, a lot of times people think that nursing is this big glamorous job, but there's some nights when it's days and nights when it's pretty stressful. So I'm just laughing at this, all this stuff that they're telling you to do. Take time, make your friends and family a priority. How? When you are asked to do so much overtime, Yeah, so how is friends and family gonna know? And sometimes you may not even sign up for overtime. You're just held over because maybe the nurse that's coming to relieve you is late. It's not like at a regular job where if you get off at 3 o'clock, when 3 o'clock comes, you just clock out and go. No, you as a nurse, you have to wait till another nurse comes to relieve you. Otherwise, you can't go. So yeah, so all that talk about the things to do to relieve the burnout is just some talk, especially from the people higher ups. But let's hear some stuff from people on the floor out in the field. That's what I like to say. Let's hear from the field nurse. I'm a field nurse because I work in the field, so I'm keeping it. All right, and then the lack of respect. So you're having this, busy shift when you've got 2 or 3 of your patients are crashing. We call it crashing, not when you're circling the drain. Meaning, you're having to do some critical thinking. Then you've got, a physician yelling at you or belittling you, in front of the staff, just doing all these kind of things. It takes we have to have very tough skin and know how not to internalize that. And then too, know how not to snap and, oh, how dare you, you can't, can't do that. So you have to use your, psychology classes to help you to be able to deal with, even some of these physicians that get a kick out of talking down to the nerves, So, and that takes its toll on you too, where, you can feel demoralized and demeaned and just dehumanized and all that good stuff. Yeah, and then you got, like I said, the patients. Some of them aren't always grateful that you're there to try to help them. And also the family members who want to complain about baby stuff. It's like, you're in the middle of doing something very urgent and they page and get you pulled out of the room to say, why mama has a speck of food on her mouth? Why is her mouth not cleaned? Okay, last but not least, I know I said I was going to talk about the what to do when the drug addict comes in there. Okay, so a few years back, I'm sure y'all probably heard it in the news about a lot of physicians, being arrested for running pill mills or overprescribing, all that stuff. Anyway, so while all this was taking place, we nurses still had to honor these the medications that had been ordered. So we kind of created a society of opioid dependent people, and these pain meds, they didn't pick certain genders or races or nationalities, age, none of that stuff. I mean, there's old people, not all of them, but there's old people that sprung out on the Percocet and the Dilaudid. That's the key one. Woohoo! People like that stuff. And pain medicine. Okay, so it's young, old, black, white, fat, skinny. It doesn't matter. Like the people that's gonna have a problem with it have a problem with it. And working in the hospital, especially with the insurance companies, giving us patient satisfactory scores, and if the patients say that their pain wasn't handled, then we don't get paid, And so we're taught in nursing school that pain is whatever the person says it is, right? But we're also taught to be able to make a nursing assessment for pain. Like, I said, I've worked in critical care. So those patients on ventilators, they're not able to tell you when they're in pain. But as a nurse, I can use my critical thinking and look at the vital signs and can come up with the conclusion that they're in pain by their blood pressure, their heart rate. There's, vital signs can indicate when a person's in pain for real. So when you are working with a person who is addicted to pain medicine or dependent on pain medicine, and they make things up to come into the hospital, and then you may have a physician who's, I don't know why they prescribe so much pain medicine. They did after a lot of them started getting sent to the prison, it started drying up. So then now we got the junkies coming in there thinking that it was like the old days when they used to have like a smorgasbord of medications, and now that kind of stuff ain't happening. So anyway, the drug addicts come in there, and this is your clue. So if you are a nurse and you got to still play professional, can't be like, you junkie, I give you, can't do that because you're at work, right? And the law, not the law, but nursing law says that pain is whatever the person says it is. So what you have to do is, try to keep a neutral face. You don't want to you don't want to have a look of disgust on your face. But anyway, you keep a neutral face, and you take the vital signs and stuff. And my thing is this: I'm not here to judge anybody. If you like the pain medicine, you want to get it. If it's the doctor say you can get it, it's on your profile and it's within time, and you got the vital signs, you're gonna get it. But if your blood pressure is in the toilet, it's 80 over 43, you ain't getting no pain medicine. What, you want me to kill you? So, that, no. All right, I'm about to wrap up this little point real quick, too. The reason why, you can get burned out working with a lot of these pain seekers is because they are so fixated on getting their fix that they will just put the light on, light on, light on, light on. They'll set their clocks to be able to, like if they can get the pain medicine every 4 hours, at 3 hours and 45 minutes, their alarm is going to go off, and then they're going to be calling up there to, get more pain medicine. And it's really sad because I feel like we need to be able to diagnose addiction instead of feeding the person's addictions, which is what we do. We just give them the drugs. And like I said, I don't try to hold back anybody's pain medicine. If your vital signs are, normal and it's safe to get it, I just give it. Whatever. You have to ask the question, right? On a scale from 1 to 10, and 10 is the worst, what do you rate your pain at? And 9 out of 10 times, the addict always says 10. 10. So, and if your blood pressure is decent, if at the top your systolic number is at least 100, I'm okay. I just go ahead and give it because I'm not going to, start more stuff. Because a lot of times when you tell them no, they'll do things to try to make their blood pressure up, like injure themselves. Okay, one quick story and then I'm going to let y'all go. All right, so I was working on the ortho floor years back, and I had a patient who had an external fixator. And what that is like some metal rods that you can see outside of your leg. So they kind of bolts and screws, right? So you've got the bolts and screws kind of hanging out of your legs. So the lady, she Dilaudid. That stuff is horrible. Anyway, so she wants the Dilaudid, but her blood pressure is like 84 over 43. So I was like, I'm sorry, and she could hardly open her eyes. Pain 10. So it's obvious to me that, she's already over sedated or whatever. So I checked the blood pressure. That's what I do when they be asking for it. Check the blood pressure, show her your blood pressure is too low. I can't give you this narcotic because it's going to drop your pressure low or stop you from breathing. Like a lot of times y'all hear about these people out on the street ODing on things like heroin and this fentanyl stuff. That stops your respiration, okay? So I can't give you this narcotic because you're respirating. And then some of them like breathing at eight times a minute. You can't get pain medicine that way. I'm so sorry. So this lady, she grabs the external fixator out, spikes coming out of her legs. She grabs and and she at me, right? And she goes, check it now. So I checked the blood pressure. I'm like scared as hell, right? Because I'm like, oh my God, like I was. So while she's just grabbing it, shaking and at me, right? She goes, check it now. So I check her blood pressure, and sure enough, it's up there. So I was like, okay. So I give her the Dilaudid and just leave because I'm like, what to do after that? Like, who does that? So I do report it to the surgeon that the patient is in there doing that. But I don't know. Some doctors are timid to, make a diagnosis of somebody being an addict, or even obesity. Like that's a diagnosis. Like those things need to be talked about, but it's kind of like kept hush, hush, hush. And then, we're really not allowed or encouraged to speak about it. So these are burdens that you will have to carry as a nurse. Like, you're not allowed to, say that kind of stuff. But anyway, if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. And like I said, I can tell a ton of these stories, and I haven't given up any names or anything like that. I'm just telling my stories on work life. All right, peace, and leave in the comments if y'all want to hear some more stories. I got some stories.